my best friend and I crossed over into a world of cultivation. Blessed with heaven-defying opportunities and powerful talents. In just 1,000 short years, the two of us became the world's only two golden core cultivators. We even joined forces to establish a cultivation sect. But 300 years ago, I sensed a breakthrough in my cultivation and went into seclusion to reach the next level, while my best friend, Sha Mo, had once damaged his foundation to save me. His cultivation ultimately stalled at the golden core stage, so he could only retreat to manage the sect from behind the scenes. After entrusting the sect to my best friend's care, I resolutely entered a life or death seclusion, focusing all my power on the breakthrough. But I never could have imagined that when I successfully broke through and emerged, the scene I had imagined of my best friend welcoming me never appeared. Instead, I discovered a desolate grave on the sect's back mountain. The name on it was my brother, Sha Mo. Who did this? I will make you pay with your life. At that moment, having just come out of seclusion, I was thinking of giving my best friend a surprise. The next second, my figure had already appeared in the sky above the Tian Dao sect. The sight that met my eyes made me pause for a moment. The few thatched huts and the dilapidated main hall from back then were long gone, replaced by an endless stretch of magnificent jade pavilions. On the giant stone tablet at the sect gate were 5 large, gold-gilded words: the number 1 sect of the heavenly Tao. They shimmered brightly in the sunlight. Then, as I searched for the fatty from above, I thought to myself, well, I'll be. That damn fatty actually did it. Immediately after, I spread my divine sense, instantly covering the entire sect, searching for Sha Mo's aura. However, a moment later, the smile on my face froze. Nothing. Within a 1,000-mile radius, there were tens of thousands of disciples, dozens of nascent soul elders, and even 2 experts at the spirit transformation stage. But Sha Mo's aura was the only one missing. What's going on? Could it be that his lifespan ran out? A golden core cultivator's lifespan is only 500 years. Without a great stroke of luck, it was indeed possible that Sha Mo was already dead. Just then, 2 outer sect disciples guarding the gate below. Their idle chatter reached my ears. Hey, have you heard? Today is the young sect master's succession ceremony. It's also Supreme Elder Lu Rian's 500th birthday. I heard the whole sect is throwing a huge banquet. Outer sect disciples like us will only get a bowl of soup out of it. But speaking of which, that Elder Lu is truly blessed. Not only has her own cultivation reached the spirit transformation stage, but her son is also so accomplished. Not like that damned former sect master. Shush, keep your voice down. Why bring up that good for nothing? Such bad luck. What? The former sect master was a good for nothing. Bad luck. It's true, isn't it? What else could that guy, Sha Mo, do besides run a business? Back then, if it weren't for Elder Rian and the current sect master, Lord Zhao, propping things up, this Tian Dao sect would have collapsed long ago. I heard that Sha Mo's death was really awful. It seems he suffered a cultivation deviation, and every meridian in his body was severed. In the end, his body was dragged by a stray dog to the mass grave on the back mountain. Alright, stop talking. The man's been dead for 50 years anyway. He doesn't even have a decent grave. The Tian Dao sect now belongs to the Zhaos and the Lias. It hasn't belonged to the Shahs for a long time. Where did you just say Sha Mo died? The mass grave. HMPH. Ah. My brother gave his life to the sect, only to be branded a sinner in the end. Why? I must find out the truth. Right, I'll see if old Mo's soul has entered the cycle of reincarnation. That is Sha Mo's aura. Even after 50 years, even if his body has rotted away, I would never mistake it. He has not yet been reincarnated. With my Mahayana stage cultivation, I might just be able to reconstruct his physical body. HMPH. This is a soul-locking spike, used specifically to suppress vengeful spirits. It prevents them from ever being reborn, forcing them to suffer the torment of hellfire day and night. Sha Mo's shattered soul was thus nailed into his own ulna bone. For 50 whole years, day and night. Unable to live, yet forbidden to die. Arg. Why? What kind of deep-seated hatred is this? Wasn't Sha Mo the sect master? That place is ruled by his own wife and son. Who would dare use such extreme torture on him? This is a lingering trace of Sha Mo's obsession. It must have awakened after sensing my aura. Ayu, don't come out. Run, they want to take your sword bone. Rian, Elder Zhao, and Tian, too. I've failed you, I couldn't protect our home. This is a memory from before old Mo died. You damn fatty. Drink it, if you don't die, and that Lin Yu comes back. The position of sect master will still be his, only if you die. Can a widow and her orphan son like us rely on Elder Zhao? Pa, what kind of useless father are you? You can't even reach the foundation establishment stage. You're an utter disgrace to me. Take off this jade pendant. This is a top-grade spirit jade. It's a waste hanging on him. If Lin Yu comes out of seclusion, he'll surely perform a ritual to lock onto his soul. If Lin Yu rushes here, we can use this remnant soul as a hostage to force that Lin Yu to hand over his insights from the Mahayana stage. At this point, the vision cuts off. I stood amidst the ruins, my eyes snapping open. Then, I pulled out that soul-locking spike and took Sha Mo's remains, carefully placing them in a soul-nourishing wood coffin. Then, I spoke coldly. Old Mo, don't be afraid. I'm taking you to a birthday banquet. We're going to get our revenge. Meanwhile, in the Heavenly Path sect's plaza, gongs and drums roared, and red carpets were laid out. Several thousand disciples were lined up neatly, their congratulatory cheers shaking the heavens and the earth. On the high platform, a gorgeously dressed Lu Rian was beaming with a radiant face. She was snuggled up against the current sect master, Zhao Wuji. Beside them, Sha Tian, dressed in brocade robes, wore a look of arrogance as he accepted the prostrations of the crowd. Immediately after, the master of ceremonies announced in a loud voice, "The auspicious time has arrived. Will the young sect master please ascend the throne and bow to heaven and earth?" Today, I'd like to see who dares to bow. Ah, who is that person? Everyone's eyes were fixed on the massive, deep crater in the center of the plaza. As for me, I just reached out my hand and gently caressed the rough surface of the coffin. At that moment, 5 disciples from the Hall of Enforcement charged at me with their weapons. I didn't make a move, merely glanced over them, and all of them dropped dead. Seeing this, Lu Rian's face filled with shock. Beside her, Zhao Wuji's eyes narrowed slightly. As a mid-stage soul transformation expert, he could sense the murderous aura coming from the white-haired man more keenly than anyone else. This kind of aura, I've only heard of it from old monsters at the Tribulation Transcendence stage. Who might you be? If you have a grievance or a feud, feel free to state your terms. If you've come for a drink, I welcome you. But if you're here to cause trouble, before Zhao Wuji could finish, an even more terrifying chill suddenly descended, freezing the rest of his words in his throat. In the center of the square, I slowly raised my head. My eyes swept across the crowd, regardless of their cultivation level. They all felt as if their very souls were being fiercely gripped by a large, icy hand. I ignored Zhao Wuji, my gaze passing over thousands of people, and landing directly on the 3 people on the high platform: Lu Rian, Zhao Wuji, and that Sha Tian, who was wearing Sha Mo's jade pendant. I sneered. Red carpets, red lanterns, red silk. How festive. A pity it's the wrong color. As I spoke, I slowly began to walk towards the high platform. With every step, the main peak of the entire Heavenly Dao sect would tremble slightly. My gaze was locked on Lu Rian. Today is your birthday, and also this little bastard's succession ceremony. Lu Rian trembled. Intense fear made her subconsciously shrink back behind Zhao Wuji. But then, a sense of being publicly humiliated filled her with rage. She was the Grand Elder of the Heavenly Dao sect, Taoist partner of a soul transformation mighty figure. In this sect, she was the heavens. Lu Rian shrieked. Insolence! Where did this madman come from? Where are the enforcement elders? Where are the consecrated elders? Are you all dead? Kill him for me, mince him into a paste, and burn that coffin for me. Following her order, the sect's experts, who had been frozen stiff, finally reacted. Audacious maniac, how dare you act so wildly before the sect master? Form the demon-slaying formation. In an instant, dozens of powerful auras shot up into the sky. This was the Heavenly Dao sect's most elite force. 18 nascent soul stage elders and over 100 core formation stage deacons. They were usually high and mighty, but now, eager to perform in front of the sect master and the Grand Elder. They summoned their life-bound magical treasures without any reservation. The sky filled with crisscrossing sword auras and tumbling dharma seals. At this moment, the entire sky was obscured by the brilliant light of the spells. Countless attacks, each powerful enough to destroy a city, rained down on me alone. However, facing this world-ending onslaught, I didn't even raise an eyelid. I just gently raised my right hand and casually made a pressing down motion in the air. And softly uttered 2 words, "Kneel down." The 18 nascent soul elders at the very front didn't even have time to scream. Their bodies suddenly froze in midair, then as if slapped by a giant, invisible hand, they were viciously slammed down. They crashed heavily onto the ground, their knees shattering instantly. As for the 100 or so core formation deacons, they were utterly defenseless. Their magical artifacts in the sky shattered in an instant, and they rained down from above. By the time they landed, they were nothing but pools of mangled flesh. With a single word, all techniques are broken. With a single syllable, all living things kneel. This is the grand ascension stage. My word is law, heaven and earth submit. The sect's elites, so arrogant just moments ago. Not a single one of them could remain standing. The entire plaza was plunged into a dead silence once more. The only sound was my own unhurried footsteps. I calmly called out Zhao Wuji's name. On the high platform, Zhao Wuji was already petrified with fear. The power of natural law that erupted in that instant made him, a spirit transformation cultivator, tremble from the very depths of his soul. It was the crushing pressure of a higher dimension. Zhao Wuji's voice trembled. "Senior, who in the world are you?" I stopped in my tracks. I slowly raised my hand and gently removed my mask. "You don't recognize me? 300 years ago, when this heavenly Tao sect was still nothing but a few dilapidated huts, I seem to recall you were just that. Errand boy responsible for emptying the chamber pots, right, little Zhao?" The words struck like a bolt of lightning, crashing down on top of Zhao Wuji's head. That form of address, that tone of voice, and that face. An image from the depths of his memory suddenly sharpened. The one who always carried a broken iron sword on his back. Who did nothing but cultivate all day long. The one who, according to legend, had already died. In his seclusion cave, Lin Yu, Zhao Wuji let out a piercing scream. His entire body collapsed onto the throne. Grand Ancestor. In the crowd, several of the most ancient Grand Elders finally recognized that face as well. They were all scared witless, scrambling and tumbling from their seats. Kneeling on the ground, they began to kowtow frantically. The old ancestor is out of seclusion. Heavens, it's really him, the god of slaughter. Fear spread like a plague, instantly sweeping through the entire audience. I looked at the collapsed form of Zhao Wuji. Then I glanced at the deathly pale Lu Rian. Finally, my gaze landed on the one who was already scared senseless, but was still desperately clutching the jade pendant at his waist, Sha Tian. It seems some of you still remember me. And since you remember, this will be much simpler. I walked toward Lu Rian, one step at a time. "Today is your grand birthday celebration. My brother, Sha Mo, couldn't be here to wish you a happy birthday, but I brought him with me, sister-in-law. How do you like this gift? Lin Yu, you monster." That useless Sha Mo is already dead. He's been dead for 50 years. Why would you bring a dead man's bones here? I raised a single finger to my lips. Shush, old Mo likes peace and quiet. It's too noisy where he is now. I want him to be able to hear the sound of your screams. You're wearing something I don't like. Sha Tian's feet lifted off the ground. He kicked frantically, his hands clawing desperately at my large hand, which was clamped like an iron vise, trying to pry it open. But the hand didn't budge in the slightest. As the young master of the heavenly Tao sect, Sha Tian was used to being the center of everyone's world. At such a young age, he had been stuffed with elixirs to reach the early golden core stage. But before me, he was less than an ant. Sha Tian forced a choked cry for help from his throat. "Father. Mother. Save me." Lu Rian let out a blood-curdling scream. "Stop, Lin Yu. How dare you harm my son?" She tried to rush over, but found herself already frozen in place by an invisible aura. She could only watch helplessly as her own son was held in midair like a chick waiting to be slaughtered. Beside them, Zhao Wuji's face was ashen. He could move, but he didn't dare. Right now, saving anyone wasn't on his mind at all. He was only thinking about how to escape. I paid no attention to the noise next to me. My eyes were fixed on the jade pendant at Sha Tian's waist, which swayed as he struggled. It was a top-grade warm jade, and its entire body exuded a faint life force. I remember it clearly. It was 300 years ago. He had just transmigrated, and it was the dead of winter. So that I wouldn't be distracted at the crucial point of my foundation establishment, Sha Mo secretly went behind my back to a demonic cultivator and served as a human guinea pig for 3 months, surviving near-death experiences from testing potions just to get This piece of warm jade that could nourish one's meridians. When he gave it to me, Sha Mo's hands were covered in frostbite, and he said with a silly grin, This thing is great. If you wear it, you won't have to worry about suffering a cultivation deviation. You're a genius. You deserve the best. Later, before I went into seclusion, I specifically left this jade pendant for Sha Mo. Help suppress the old injuries in his body. But now, it's hanging from this degenerate son's waist. A mere status symbol. I said softly, you are not worthy. With a single thought, the silk cord holding the jade pendant snapped on its own. The pendant slowly flew up and hovered in front of me. Then, a gentle spiritual energy enveloped the pendant, washing over it again and again, scouring away Sha Tian's aura as if cleansing some kind of vile filth. Feeling his connection to the pendant being forcibly severed, Sha Tian, oblivious to his impending doom, roared. That's my life-bound jade pendant, you old bastard. My father left it for me. I laughed. You, worthy? You call Zhao Wuji, father, with every breath, yet you wear Sha Mo's relic. When you and that mother of yours poisoned your own biological father. Did you ever think that he was your dad? When you spat on his corpse, and threw him into a mass grave to be fed to dogs, did you ever think that he was your dad? Every single word was like a heavy hammer, slamming hard into the hearts of the crowd. Although everyone had their suspicions, no one had imagined that the truth from back then would be so sordid, that this mother and son had actually committed such an inhuman act of killing her husband and his father. Sha Tian's eyes flickered, but still unrepentant, he shouted, You're lying. He suffered a cultivation deviation on his own. It seems you won't give up until you're faced with death, since you're so fond of this body. Since you feel you deserve all of this, then on Sha Mo's behalf, I will take back everything he gave you, piece by piece. The first thing is your physical body. Back then, to raise you, Sha Mo scrimped and saved. He couldn't even bear to spend a single spirit stone, using it all to buy you pills to fortify your constitution. Every piece of your flesh, every drop of your blood, was given to you by him. Now, give it back. As soon as my voice fell, I formed a sword with my fingers and slashed through the air towards Sha Tian. A blood-curdling scream of absolute agony pierced the clouds, making everyone present feel their scalps tingle. In an instant, the luxurious brocade robe on Sha Tian's body burst apart. Immediately after, countless thin lines of blood erupted all over his body. But he didn't die. I used my spiritual power to protect his heart. I wanted him to feel this despair every single second. Just then, Lu Rian finally broke free from her sealed pressure points. She threw herself onto Sha Tian like a madwoman, letting out a blood-curdling wail. My son. Lin Yu, you're not human. I'll kill you. Don't be in such a hurry. It's not over yet. I didn't even glance at Lu Rian. My gaze fell upon Sha Tian's spine, which was emitting a faint golden light. That's a spiritual root, and it's a supreme-grade gold spiritual root. But I knew that when Sha Tian was born, he clearly had a useless spiritual root. This gold spiritual root was something Sha Mo back then knelt in the snow for 3 days and 3 nights to beg for, in order to defy fate and change his son's destiny. It was exchanged for a marrow cleansing and bone reforging pill. No, my gaze suddenly filled with immense sorrow. I saw it clearly. That wasn't the effect of any marrow cleansing and bone reforging pill. On that spinal bone, there were countless cracks and marks of it being grafted. It's the art of grafting. So that's what happened. Old Mo, you utter fool. You actually dug out your only spiritual root and planted it into this animal. Only that could explain why Sha Mo suddenly became immortal, and why his body deteriorated so quickly. For this son, he brutally carved out his own immortal bone. And yet, this son used the spiritual root that his father traded his life for to acknowledge a traitor as his new father. To show off and act mighty. Unforgivable. At that moment, the killing intent radiating from me exploded completely. The sky instantly turned blood red. I roared in fury, give his bone back. My right hand shot out and viciously grabbed at Sha Tian's blood-soaked back. Spinal bone, glowing with a golden light, was brutally ripped out of Sha Tian's body. Sha Tian's agonizing scream stopped abruptly, and his entire body went limp, like a boneless creature. This time, he had truly passed out from the pain, but I shot a jolt of spiritual power into him, forcibly waking him up with the pain once more. It's not over. I gripped the blood-stained golden spine in my hand, feeling the familiar essence of Sha Mo on it. My heart twisted in agony. I casually tossed Sha Tian in front of Lu Rian. Take a good look. This is your son. And this is my brother's life. Senior Lin, this was all planned by that venomous woman, Lu Rian. I was deceived, too. I've always respected Brother Sha, I swear. Please, senior, spare my life. Back when Sha Mo was nailed to a post in the mass grave, did he ever beg you to spare his life? Back when his entire body was rotting and you were forcing poison down his throat, did he ever beg you to spare his life? Tell me, were you the one who hammered the soul-locking nails into his body? Listen, it wasn't me, no need to speak. I'll just search your soul. The soul-searching technique is the most insidious art in the cultivation world. The slightest misstep can turn the victim into a mindless fool, and at this moment, I have absolutely no intention of holding back. A large hand clamped directly onto Zhao Wuji's head. My divine sense brutally stabbed into Zhao Wuji's sea of consciousness, completely ignoring whether this method of soul-searching would turn him into an idiot. My face was completely expressionless. My other hand suddenly grabbed at the void, heavenly demon illusionary pupil, illuminating the heavens. Then, I extracted Zhao Wuji's memories onto a screen of light in the sky. All the tens of thousands of disciples in the square looked up at the enormous screen of light. Those were the memories of Zhao Wuji. They were also the ironclad proof of this sect's tragic massacre. The first memory scene was in a secret chamber 50 years ago. Zhao Wuji was in the middle of a sordid affair with Lu Rian. Lu Rian's voice was seductively charming. That fat bastard's health has been getting worse and worse lately. That spirit-dissolving powder from last time worked wonders. Zhao Wuji's voice was filled with smugness. That's something I spent a great deal of money to buy from the Poison King of the Western regions. It's colorless and odorless. It's designed to corrode one's foundation. That bastard Sha Mo is nothing but a foundation establishment weakling. How could he possibly withstand it? As soon as he dies, the vast resources of this heavenly path sect, and that treasury left behind by Lin Yu, will all be ours, Lu Rian said with some concern. What if Lin Yu comes out of his seclusion? Zhao Wuji sneered with contempt. It's been 300 years, and there hasn't been a single sound from that cave. I bet he succumbed to his inner demons and died in there long ago. Only a fool like Sha Mo still believes he's alive. And even if Lin Yu does come back alive, once Sha Mo is dead, we can just say it was because Lin Yu's refusal to leave seclusion that caused turmoil in the sect, which led to Sha Mo dying from overwork. We can pin all the blame on others. The second memory scene showed Zhao Wuji standing by the bed, looking down condescendingly at Sha Mo on the bed. At this point, Sha Mo's entire body was covered in festering, weeping sores. He was breathing with great difficulty, but in his hand, he was still clutching tightly to that top-grade spirit stone he had prepared for Lin Yu. Sha Mo's voice was as faint as a mosquito's buzz. Elder Zhao, I've settled all the sect's accounts. Don't you touch the resources I've left for Ah Yu. In the vision, Zhao Wuji viciously stomped his foot on Sha Mo's hand. Sect Master Sha, you're about to die, and you're still thinking about that ghost Lin Yu? And then, Lu Rian's exquisitely made-up face leaned in. In her hand, she held a bowl of medicinal soup bubbling with black foam. Drink up, my husband. Don't worry, after you die, Elder Zhao and I will take good care of Tian Tian. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Tian Tian has been calling Elder Zhao, Godfather, for a long time now. On the sickbed, Sha Mo was overcome with rage. His eyes flew wide open, staring fixedly. His lips moved, as if he wanted to say something. But in the end, he couldn't utter a word. The third memory scene was in a mass grave. Sha Mo's body had been carelessly tossed into a mud pit. In his hand, Zhao Wuji held 7 long nails, emanating a cold, dark energy. The 9 nether soul-locking nails. Zhao Wuji laughed sinisterly. To prevent this fatty from becoming a vengeful ghost and causing trouble after death. And to stop that bastard Lin Yu from summoning his soul, in case he ever comes back alive. It's safer to ensure he can never be reincarnated. With every nail that was driven in, the image itself seemed to tremble. It was the remnant of his soul, letting out a silent, mournful wail. At this point, the vision abruptly ended. I waved my hand and the screen of light dispersed. The square was terrifyingly silent. This was no longer an ordinary sect dispute. This was a depraved, inhuman slaughter. An act worse than any beast. Even those elders who usually followed Zhao Wuji around, acting like tyrants, now had faces as pale as death, not daring to look up at me. I looked down at Zhao Wuji in my grasp, who had already been reduced to a drooling imbecile by the soul search. Do you see? This is the sect master you all revered. So this is the way of the heavenly Dao sect. With just a slight movement of my hand, Zhao Wuji's head instantly exploded. Immediately, a small, pale golden figure shot out from the corpse in terror. That was Zhao Wuji's nascent soul. The nascent soul let out a shrill cry for mercy. Senior, spare my life. Then it tried to turn into a streak of light to flee. I sneered, since you enjoy profiting from the blood of others, then today, I will devour your nascent soul whole. At that, Zhao Wuji's nascent soul let out a desperate scream as it was sucked back by an irresistible force, falling directly into my mouth. Then I turned my head and looked at the collapsed Lu Rian on the ground, and the 18 surrounding elders who were originally kneeling, but were now attempting to secretly form an array to fight back out of extreme fear, the nascent soul stage elders. But, you want to fight? It's better to go all out than to wait for death. We might as well take a gamble. This monster has already lost his mind. He won't spare us. Everyone, attack together. Activate the great sect protecting array. Detonate the earth veins. I refuse to believe that even a great accomplishment stage master can withstand an earth vein explosion. This group of elders, usually so sanctimonious, were actually willing, just to survive, to detonate the entire heavenly Dao sect mountain range, dragging tens of thousands of disciples down with them. The next second, all 18 nascent soul elders burned their blood essence at once, and crimson pillars of light shot towards the sky, converging in that instant to form a massive phantom skull, looming over the square. I watched the turbulent array, with not a single ripple of emotion in my eyes. Slowly, I raised my right hand, extending my index finger toward the enormous phantom skull in the sky and tapped gently. With that one finger, a spatial rift formed. The rift instantly devoured the giant skull. The crazed expressions on the 18 elders' faces froze. Immediately, 18 mists of blood bloomed in the air in perfect unison. No screams, no resistance, not even their nascent souls had time to escape before that terrifying spatial rift annihilated them into nothingness. In the square, those who had thought their deaths were certain, the disciples, stared blankly at the rain of blood falling from the sky. This is the Mahayana stage. This is not a battle on the same level. This is a slaughter. I lowered my hand, my gaze falling back upon the high platform. Now, only Lu Rian remained on the entire platform. I walked step by step until I was in front of Lu Rian. It's your turn, sister-in-law. You can't kill me. I am Sha Mo's wife. If you kill me, Sha Mo will blame you from beyond the grave. He loved me the most. You know that. Facing her imminent death, she still tried to use Sha Mo as a shield. I stopped in my tracks, standing just 3 feet from her. My mind drifted back 300 years, to the scene when Sha Mo first brought this woman to me. Back then, Sha Mo was smiling like a child, grabbing my hand and saying, "Ayu, this is Rian. She doesn't mind my poor aptitude. She's willing to build a life with me. From now on, we're all family." At that moment, I was genuinely happy for my brother. But now, love? I mulled over that word and suddenly laughed. The flip of my wrist, an exquisite jade bottle appeared in my palm. The moment she saw that jade bottle, Lu Rian's pupils contracted. My tone was cold. This bottle should look very familiar to you. I found it in Zhao Wuji's storage ring. It hasn't even been used up yet. The remaining half of the bottle is right here. Spirit-devouring soul-dissolving liquid. It doesn't kill a person all at once. Instead, it's like termites eating through wood. Bit by bit, it eats away a cultivator's spiritual root and corrodes their meridians. Finally, it melts the internal organs. Every day at midnight, the poisoned person will endure the pain of 10,000 ants eating their heart. This pain will last for 3 whole years, until the person turns into a pile of rotten mush. My eyes were fixed firmly on Lu Rian. For 3 whole years, when Sha Mo was writhing on the bed in agony every night. What were you doing when he was coughing up blood? What were you doing when he was begging you to put him out of his misery? What were you doing then? I grabbed Lu Rian straight by the neck and lifted her up with one hand. Lu Rian struggled desperately, refusing to admit it. I let out a cold snort. My other hand tapped the spot between her eyebrows. Then let's have everyone see what kind of creature this virtuous wife and loving mother truly is. Another screen of light unfolded. The memory scene shifted to the night of Sha Mo's birthday, 3 years ago. Lu Rian personally cooked him a bowl of longevity noodles. Sha Mo picked up his chopsticks and lifted a mouthful of noodles. But in that instant, Sha Mo's hand paused. He was a seasoned veteran, after all. Although his cultivation was gone, his instinct for danger was still there. In that bowl of noodles, there was a faint, sweet, and metallic smell. It was the smell of a potent poison. He had noticed it. In the scene, the look in Sha Mo's eyes flashed with a hint of utter bewilderment, followed by desolate sorrow. Finally, it transformed into a trace of bitter resolve. He raised his head, took a deep look at the expectant Lu Rian, and then another look at his son, Sha Tian, who was peeking from behind the door. "I'll eat." With tears in his eyes, Sha Mo devoured that bowl of poisoned noodles in large gulps. The image faded. The entire place once again fell into a deathly silence. This time, even I was stunned. I had originally thought Sha Mo was killed without knowing the truth. But it turns out Sha Mo knew it was poison. Why, when he knew, did he still eat it? I felt as if my heart was being viciously crushed by an invisible giant hand, the pain so great I couldn't breathe. Because Sha Mo knew that if he didn't die, Lu Rian and Sha Tian would continue to harbor resentment, and might even attract external enemies to attack the Heavenly Tao sect. At that time, it would inevitably affect me while I was in secluded cultivation. He thought that if he just died, and gave up his position, this mother and son would be satisfied. That they would spare the Heavenly Tao sect, that they wouldn't affect my secluded cultivation. That it would allow the mother and son to survive in this cruel world of cultivation. How could there be such a stupid fool like you in this world? I released my hand. Did you see that? He knew you wanted to kill him. But he still gave you what you wanted. At this moment, Lu Rian also collapsed weakly to the ground. The scene that was just replayed completely shattered the last line of defense in her heart. She had always thought her plan was seamless, always thought Sha Mo was an idiot. But it turned out that the man she had called a good-for-nothing his whole life had long since seen through everything. Yet he had accepted her viciousness with his own life. Lu Rian mumbled to herself incoherently. Tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. Impossible, how could he possibly have known? That fool, Lu Rian, doesn't feel remorse. It's fear, it's the despair of her whole life turning into a joke. I slowly raised my palm, and a ball of black flame ignited from nothingness within my heart. That was no ordinary fire. It was the netherworld flame of the 9 serenities. It is meant to incinerate souls, making one suffer the torment of being burned for lifetime after lifetime. Never to be reincarnated, since he fulfilled your wish. Then I shall fulfill yours. You love glory and wealth. You love being the center of attention. I flicked my finger. That ball of black flame instantly transformed into countless tiny tongues of fire. And drilled into Lu Rian's 7 orifices. Lu Rian let out a blood-curdling scream. I will refine you into an ever-burning lamp, to be lit right in front of Sha Mo's grave. I want you to look at his tombstone day and night. You will burn for a full 3,000 years. Not a single breath less. After I finished speaking, I waved my large sleeve. A gentle force swept up Sha Tian from the ground, along with the screaming and burning Lu Rian. I looked at Sha Tian, who was barely breathing. As for this traitorous son, since you look down on the bloodline your father gave you so much, then you can go be a dog. I casually cast a restrictive spell, forcibly sealing Sha Tian's soul inside the body of a passing stray dog. I want you to guard this grave. If you let even one crow land on this tomb, I will rip out one of your souls. After finishing all of this, I turned around. The main hall of the Heavenly Tao sect was now a field of rubble. I looked up at the plaque hanging at the highest point, the glittering golden plaque of the number 1 sect of the Heavenly Tao. That was Sha Mo's life's work. I sneered, even a good man like my brother couldn't have a peaceful end. What use is this wretched heaven? I summoned a longsword into my hand. A terrifying sword aura, spanning 1,000 jong, surged to the sky with world-destroying intent. That plaque, along with the main peak behind it that symbolized the supreme authority of the Heavenly Tao sect, was cleaved in 2 by this single strike. Amidst the billowing dust and smoke, I shouldered the black coffin and walked down the mountain, step by step. My gaze turned to the distant west. That is a forbidden land where the living dare not tread. It is also the entrance to hell. Mo, your revenge has been taken. Next, we're going to the netherworld to raise some hell. The heavens won't take your life, and hell will not keep it. I'm taking you home. At that moment, the roar of the Heavenly Tao sect's main peak collapsing alarmed the cultivation world for 10,000 li around. On my way down the mountain, more than 3,000 people appeared before me. They were the masters from the major sects of the Righteous Path Alliance, who had rushed over after hearing the news. The 3 leading them were all powerful experts at the great perfection of the spirit transformation stage. They were staring daggers at me, with a look reserved for judging a demon. A white-bearded old man in the center shouted sternly, "Halt." He was the sect master of the Hao Ran sect and also the alliance leader of the Righteous Path Alliance, Li Daoxuan. Who are you? Why have you come to the Heavenly Tao sect, the leader of the Righteous Path, to commit such a massacre? To carry out such an inhuman act? I didn't stop walking. I didn't even raise my head to glance at them. Get out of my way. Just those 4 words made the dozens of golden core cultivators blocking the front feel as if they'd been struck by lightning. Their chests felt as if they'd been smashed by a heavy hammer, and they all coughed up a mouthful of blood. They retreated in absolute horror. An elderly woman on the left raised her shapely eyebrows in anger. "Demon, don't you dare be so arrogant." She was the Valley Master of Flying Snow Valley. She held an ice-cold flying sword in her hand. "You have destroyed the foundation of the Heavenly Tao sect, killed Sect Master Zhao and Elder Lu, and now you think you can just walk away? If I don't suppress you here today, what will become of the Righteous Alliance's reputation?" I finally stopped walking, and slowly raised my head to speak. "When Zhao Wuji was poisoning people, where were you? When Lu Rian stripped my brother of his spiritual root, where were you? And Sha Mo was nailed to the mass grave for 50 years, wailing day and night. Where were all of you self-proclaimed righteous allies then? Li Daoxuan's expression changed slightly. His gaze flickered. Of course they knew about the sudden death of Sha Mo, the master of the heavenly Dao sect. Who couldn't see the shady business behind that mother and son's rise to power? But so what? Zhao Wuji knew how to play the game, offering 30% of his resources to the Righteous Alliance every year. He sent countless rare cultivation vessels to the Horan sect, while that blockhead Sha Mo only knew how to follow the rules. He'd say things like, sect resources should be used for the disciples' cultivation, refusing to spare even the smallest kickback. In the cultivation world, for an inflexible good person to die and be replaced by a sensible bad person, this was an unspoken rule everyone understood. Li Daoxuan, turning from shame to anger, roared righteously. What nonsense! Sect Master Sha died from a cultivation deviation. You, some demonic heretic who came out of nowhere, you dare slander the Righteous Alliance? Fellow cultivators, that sword in this fiend's hand, its evil aura pierces the heavens. It must be an unparalleled demonic weapon. If we let him leave with it, it will surely bring devastation to the world. Everyone, attack together, exorcise the demon and defend the righteous path. Kill him and take that sword. The moment they heard the words, unparalleled demonic weapon, the surrounding cultivators, who were originally a bit fearful, their eyes instantly blazed with greed. Greed can often overcome fear. Several thousand magical artifacts rose into the air at once. Multicolored lights converged into a long river of destruction, rushing towards me to kill. I watched this sky full of killing moves coming at me, and the corners of my mouth curled into an extremely sarcastic arc. Old Mo, look, this is the high society you desperately fought to squeeze into. Since they don't want you to leave, then I'll make them all stay behind and be buried with you. Sword, flower burial. My finger tapped lightly in the void. I saw the heavenly abyss ancient sword draw a circle in the air. The next moment, petals suddenly began to float between heaven and earth. They were black petals. Each petal was formed from spatial rifts compressed to their absolute limit. They were light and beautiful, yet they carried a terrifying law of instant death upon contact. The river of magical artifacts that filled the sky, the moment it encountered these black petals, dissolved without a trace. Then, the petals drifted down into the crowd. Miserable screams instantly replaced the battle cries. Those beautiful black petals landed gently on the cultivators' bodies, penetrating without any obstruction through their spiritual energy shields and slicing open their flesh. At this moment, how could Li Daoxuan still have any of the airs of a righteous leader? Scared out of his wits, he summoned a 1,000-mile divine travel talisman and was about to flee. I grabbed at the air. Trying to leave? Weren't you just going to exorcise the demon and defend the righteous path? The space around Li Daoxuan instantly froze. He was stuck, unable to move, in a running posture. I took a step and instantly appeared in front of Li Daoxuan. Let me ask you, is Sha Mo's letter pleading for help in your possession? I saw it when I was searching Zhao Wuji's soul. Before his death, Sha Mo had desperately sent out a voice transmission talisman to the Horan sect, pleading for help. After all, Sha Mo had once saved Li Daoxuan's life. Li Daoxuan trembled all over. His eyes darted away. I didn't receive it. I don't know. Since you are so merciless, then this righteous alliance has no reason to exist. Sword 2. World Ender. Countless streams of pitch-black sword energy covered an area of 10 miles. The master of Flying Snow Valley tried to block it with an ice shield, but he was pierced through the heart by a single sword strike, pinned to the rocks. The elders and disciples of the major sects were as fragile as ants in the face of absolute power. In just 10 breaths, the 3,000 righteous cultivators whose battle cries had shaken the heavens a moment ago were now all dead, not a single one left alive. I withdrew my ancient sword, shouldered the coffin once more, and continued my walk down the mountain. Behind me, it wasn't just the heavenly Dao sect. Even the elites of the Righteous Alliance, who represented the justice and order of this world, were completely wiped out on this day. But I didn't care, even if I had to kill everyone in the world, as long as I could bring my brother back. I would do it without hesitation. Next up was the underworld. In the far west, there is a river where not even a goose feather can float. A dense, gray fog perpetually shrouds the river's surface. It is the tangible form of malevolent yin energy. An ordinary cultivator would have their meridians frozen and their soul damaged just by inhaling a single breath of it. This is the Nether River. At the end of the Netherworld stands a massive, faint stone gate. The gate to the Netherworld. This is the intersection of the world of the living and the dead, a place where the laws of nature are strictest. At this moment, I was braving the howling yin winds, walking step by step towards the gate. The icy wind was like a blade, constantly slicing at my protective spiritual aura. Halt! A sharp shout came from within the gray fog, followed by the slow emergence of two towering, spectral figures. They were the underworld's gatekeepers, the ox head and horseface envoys. Although in legends they are merely minor figures, in the cultivation world, these two are genuine Ghost King-level powerhouses. They possess a combat strength comparable to a late-stage soul transformation cultivator, and with the enhancement of the underworld's laws. Not only are they immortal and indestructible, but they can also suppress a living person's cultivation by 30%. Oxhead's voice boomed like thunder. This is a sacred area of the underworld. The living are forbidden. You, cultivator up ahead. Retreat at once, or we'll rip out your living soul and throw it into a pot of boiling oil. Fry you until you're crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Horseface let out an even more sinister laugh. And you're even carrying a coffin. Are you in a hurry to be reincarnated? Since you're here, you might as well leave your life behind. I stopped and looked at these two demonic gods. There wasn't a trace of fear in my eyes. I'm going in to find someone. Horseface reacted as if he'd heard the funniest joke in the world, letting out a series of piercing, strange laughs. Who are you looking for? Are you looking for death? Oxhead grew impatient. Trespassers of the netherworld will be killed without mercy. The chain in Oxhead's hand, wrapped in monstrous yin energy, shot towards me with the force of a collapsing mountain. Faced with this world-destroying blow, I just frowned slightly. Noisy, I slowly extended a hand and gently gripped the chain. Oxhead, who was just looking smug, found his expression instantly frozen on his face. He saw that my seemingly frail hand had actually caught his full-powered strike with perfect stability, not moving an inch. How is this possible? That strike should have. Even a peak-stage deity transformation expert would be pierced through. How is this human even possible? I let out a cold snort and focused my power into my 5 fingers like a sword. I slammed a fist onto Oxhead's massive skull. Kneel. A terrifying pressure belonging to the peak of the Mahayana realm was unleashed without reservation at this moment. Oxhead's enormous body couldn't withstand this pressure at all, and his knees slammed heavily onto the ground. The nearby horseface was scared out of his wits. How could there still be a Mahayana realm cultivator in the mortal world? That's a half-step true immortal. Horseface reacted extremely quickly. With a thud, he knelt on the ground. Great immortal, spare me. This lowly one was blind and failed to recognize your greatness. I didn't kill them. I'll ask, you'll answer. The previous sect master of the Heavenly Tao sect died 50 years ago. Where is he? Oxhead and Horseface looked at each other in dismay. Horseface cautiously took out a pitch-black book. He began to flip through it quickly. A moment later, Horseface's expression turned extremely grim. I found him. Sha Mo died an unnatural death before his lifespan was up, and he bears an immense resentment. According to the law, he should have entered the city of the wrongfully deceased. But the Book of the Netherworld shows that his soul is not in the city of the wrongfully deceased. 50 years ago, just as his soul entered the gates of the Netherworld, it was snatched away by Ancestor Styx. Ancestor Styx loves to devour the souls of those who possess great fortune but die an unnatural death, using them to power his great blood river formation. In life, Sha Mo seemed to have the golden light of merit protecting his body, which is precisely the ancestor's favorite kind of supplement. Ancestor Styx is a hegemon in the netherworld, said to be formed from the polluted blood of the river Styx. His power is immeasurable. To think that Sha Mo's soul fell into the hands of such an old monster, if it's used to refine the great blood river formation, it means his soul will be utterly destroyed, without even a trace left behind. Where is he? My voice was as cold as ice. In the blood palace of the river Styx. Very well, I wasted no more words and turned to leave. Horseface hurriedly shouted, you can't go. That is a forbidden place for the living. Besides, Ancestor Styx has 8 million blood gods' children under his command. Although you are at the Mahayana stage, even so. My steps paused slightly, and a cold smile played on my lips. Perfect. Since I'm here, I might as well slaughter my way through this netherworld. Soon, I arrived at Ancestor Styx's palace. Floating directly above the palace was a giant lotus flower, and at the very center of the lotus, a semi-transparent soul was being tightly bound by countless blood-red chains. It was Sha Mo. At this moment, Sha Mo's soul had become extremely transparent. As if it could dissipate at any moment, those blood-colored chains were continuously draining the golden light of merit from his soul. With every sliver that was extracted, an expression of extreme agony would appear on Sha Mo's face. My eyes burned with fury. A furious roar shattered the blood clouds covering the sky. This roar carried the full power of a peak Mahayana realm cultivator. A sinister voice then came from the palace. Which junior dares to cause trouble in the ancestors' domain? An old man in a blood-red robe was seen slowly rising. On his back were two divine swords reeking of murderous intent, Yuantu and Abby. It was none other than Ancestor Styx. Although this was just one of his incarnations in this realm, its power had long surpassed the Mahayana stage, reaching the level of a half-step true immortal. A Mahayana stage human, Ancestor Styx looked me up and down. Then, his gaze fell upon Sha Mo's soul within the Red Lotus. "So, you've come for this little ingredient." Ancestor Styx licked his lips, revealing a cruel smile. "A pity you're too late. I've already drained 90% of this fatty's golden light of merit. In just another 15 minutes, his soul will completely disintegrate and become fuel for my karma fire Red Lotus." However, Ancestor Ming He's tone shifted as he stared at me with greed. Since a physical body of the Mahayana stage has delivered itself to my door, then this ancestor won't stand on ceremony. "I'll refine your body into a blood god's son. It's sure to greatly increase the power of my grand formation." I completely ignored Ancestor Ming He's threat, my eyes fixed on that Red Lotus, where Sha Mo was struggling in agony. I said, "Let her go. If you harm even a single hair on her head, I will slaughter your entire clan. If you destroy her soul, I will make this sea of blood of yours run completely dry." I raised my head, and the aura around me began to surge wildly, seemingly breaking through the limits of the Mahayana stage, stirring the thunder within the void. "How arrogant, children! Tear him to pieces for me." Countless blood-red shadows shot out from the sea outside the palace. They were the blood god's sons that Ancestor Ming He had refined. Each one had the power of a nascent soul stage cultivator, and their numbers were in the tens of millions. As far as the eye could see, they looked like a crimson plague of locusts, overwhelming me in an instant. I uttered only 3 words. Sword 3, Asura. The next moment, a black pillar of light that pierced through heaven and earth erupted from the center of the sea of blood. It was pure, unadulterated death intent. Wherever this pillar of light passed, whether they were blood god's sons or waves of blood, all were utterly annihilated. Then, I emerged from the pillar of light. At that moment, my full head of white hair had turned crimson, and my Taoist robe had transformed into jet black battle armor. This was the result of burning my own lifeblood, to forcibly manifest my Asura form. Since this underworld doesn't understand reason, then I will become a demon and carve out a path of reason myself. Sword in hand, I walked step by step towards the high and mighty Ancestor Minghe. With every step, a black lotus bloomed in the void beneath my feet. "Old man Minghe, are your 480 million blood god's sons enough for me to kill?" What? This sword strike doesn't just sever the body. It severs the very laws of existence. He felt it in that one sword strike. The intent of annihilation, transcending even yin and yang. "Good, you brat, a mere mortal cultivator, has actually grasped a sliver of the great Tao of annihilation. But this is the nether sea of blood. As long as the sea of blood does not wither, Minghe is immortal. Your level of skill is far from enough to challenge me. Blood River Grand Formation, activate." The entire, endless sea of blood began to boil. This time, it did not condense into the humanoid blood god's sons. Instead, the entire ocean transformed into a colossal maw that blotted out the sky. A monstrous wave of blood, tens of thousands of feet high, surged into the sky. Every single drop of seawater contained the grievances of countless vengeful souls, which transformed into billions of blood-red chains. That sealed off all of my escape routes. This technique is known as the Heaven and Earth Prison. Even a Deluo Golden Immortal would be stripped of their power and perish before it. "Now, die." Ancestor Ming He waved his hand, and the colossal wave of blood came crashing down with a roar. At the heart of the storm, I seemed as insignificant as a speck of dust. But I didn't retreat. I didn't even raise a protective shield of spiritual energy. I simply looked up at the lotus floating above the ancient hall, which was about to close completely. Karma fire red lotus that was about to devour Sha Mo's soul. I whispered to myself, "Lao Mo is still waiting for me." Sword 4, Fearless. I took a step forward, a step that ignored space itself. It ignored the barrier of blood waves, ignored the layers of seals set by Patriarch Nether River. Before the disbelieving eyes of Patriarch Nether River, the man who should have been smashed into pulp vanished into thin air. When I reappeared, I was already standing above the Karma Fire Red Lotus, less than 10 jong from Patriarch Nether River. Patriarch Nether River was stunned. The 2 slaughtering swords behind him, Yuantu and Abby, instinctively flew from their sheaths. They transformed into 2 shrieking beams of blood-red light and slashed toward me. I didn't even glance at those 2 legendary cursed blades. I slashed out with a backhand strike. A deafening clash of metal shattered the space around us. My Yuan sword slammed violently against Yuantu and Abby. Those two innate spiritual treasures, famed in primordial legends for slaying countless people, were actually struck by my sword, forged of common iron and merely infused with Mahayana stage sword intent. An ancient blade nurtured for 300 years, and were sent flying. A sword intent, pure to the extreme, is enough to shatter divine weapons. The moment I sent the twin blades flying, I didn't press my advantage against Patriarch Nether River. Instead, I turned and gripped my sword with both hands. Pointing the tip downwards, I aimed at the lotus that was furiously draining Sha Mo's soul power, the karma fire red lotus, and thrust down hard. Patriarch Nether River let out a heart-rending roar. Stop, that is my 12-petal red lotus. That lotus is the very foundation of my Tao, which I have refined for 10,000 years. If it's destroyed, his 10,000 years of cultivation will be gone in an instant. A cold light flashed in my eyes. I don't care if it belongs to the Jade Emperor himself. You touched my brother, so it will be shattered. The longsword in my hand plunged downwards, unstoppable. Its blade sank into the lotus platform. The bewitchingly beautiful red lotus trembled violently. Immediately, countless blinding rays of white light erupted from the point of entry. A dense web of cracks spread across the lotus's surface. Amidst the despairing roars of Patriarch Nether River, this demonic treasure, which had consumed countless souls, shattered violently. And at the center of the swirling debris, an extremely weakened soul slowly drifted down. Sha Mo's eyes were shut tight, but he was still desperately clutching. A faint glimmer of spiritual light. It was his memory of me. I dropped my sword and reached out with trembling hands. I carefully caught the remnant soul, as light as a feather. My voice choked. All the killing intent I had vanished in that instant, replaced by nothing but endless panic. Sha Mo struggled to open his eyes, his vision a blur. When he saw the blood-soaked man in front of him, his tattered face managed to break into a foolish grin. You've gotten so old, have you not been eating well? His words instantly brought me to tears. I began to frantically pour my purest essential soul power into Sha Mo's soul. Don't talk, I'm taking you home. Sha Mo weakly shook his head. I can't go. I feel like I'm about to scatter. You, just leave me. I'm not leaving, I roared. But I could feel that no matter how much soul power I poured into him, Sha Mo's soul was still dissipating at a visible rate. His very essence was damaged. It was a law of the heavenly Tao, his life force was spent. It was irreversible by mortal means. Thinking of running? It won't be that easy. Behind me, Patriarch Nether River appeared, his hair in disarray. He had also suffered a severe backlash, but this only ignited the innate savagery within him. You destroyed my foundation. Today, I shall have you two brothers eternally damned to this sea of blood, to serve as my blood slaves. The sea of blood below raged once more. This time, it was a towering, colossal, blood-red giant that slowly stood up. It was the true primordial form of the Blood Sea ancestor. Facing this world-ending threat, I did not turn back. I just gently placed Sha Mo's remnant soul into that soul-nurturing wooden coffin. Then I hoisted it onto my back again. Old Mo, you sleep for a while. It might get a little bumpy in a bit. After doing all this, I slowly turned around. I looked at that sky-blotting, blood-red giant. A mad smile I had never worn before spread across my face. I took a pill from within my robes. It was the 9 Revolutions soul-burning pill, the most forbidden of all forbidden medicines. After consuming it, one burns their entire lifespan and potential in exchange for an hour of 10 times their combat power. The price is the complete annihilation of one's soul after the effect wears off. This was originally prepared for the heavenly Tao. Since you're in such a hurry to die, I'll send you on your way first. I tilted my head back and swallowed the pill. An aura that surpassed the Mahayana stage, one that even touched the threshold of a true immortal, a terrifying power erupted from within me. Ancient demonic runes surfaced on my skin, and my eyes turned into pure gold vertical pupils. 5th sword, heaven cleaving. I didn't use a sword. Instead, my entire being became a sword. A silver sword light, 10,000 miles long, stretched across the dim sky of the netherworld. Forcibly tearing a dawn into this eternal night, the sword light fell. There were no flashy techniques, only the ultimate release of pure power. In that instant, the primordial blood sea form that the Blood Sea ancestor was so proud of was instantly and cleanly sliced in half. Along with that boundless sea of blood, it too was forcefully carved out by this one sword strike. Creating a 100-mile wide empty chasm, the Blood Sea ancestor let out a piercing scream. His true form was grievously injured, and he turned into a rain of countless blood drops. Fleeing into the depths of the sea, never daring to show his face again. Carrying the coffin on my back, I stepped onto the path that I had cleaved open with a single strike. A grand path leading straight to the seafloor. Step by step, I walked towards the deeper darkness. There lay the core of the underworld, the great hall of the netherworld palace. By now, the hall was already in complete chaos. An underworld bailiff stumbled into the great hall and fell to his knees. "My lord, that monster has fought his way in. How dare he? Wreaking havoc in the mortal realm was bad enough, but he dares to trespass into the underworld? Does he really think there's no one left in our underworld court? What does he want? He said he wants to change a person's fate, but life and death are predestined. Wealth and fortune are decreed by the heavens. The Book of the Netherworld is a sacred object of the heavenly Tao. How can a mere mortal casually peek it and alter it? If we set this precedent, wouldn't the three realms fall into chaos? I'll be the one to decide if there's chaos or not." I slowly walked in. At this moment, though my aura was still terrifying, black blood was continuously trickling from the corner of my mouth. The effect of the 9 revolutions soul-burning pill was fading. My life was on a countdown. But I didn't care. My gaze was locked firmly on the giant tome in the center of the hall, which was emitting a faint golden light. The Lord of the Netherworld shouted, "Stop him." The hundreds of ghost kings on both sides of the hall attacked at once. I couldn't even be bothered to draw my sword. With just a single furious roar, those ghost kings and marshals were like fallen leaves caught in a fierce wind, sent flying backward, slamming against the walls, unable to get up for a long time. In the next second, I was standing before the Book of the Netherworld as the Lord of the Netherworld roared fiercely. "What do you think you're doing? Tampering with the Book of the Netherworld will incur heavenly punishment. When that time comes, not only will your soul be scattered, but the person in your coffin will also never be reincarnated." I looked back for a moment. In my entire life, I have revered the heavens and respected the earth. But the heavens did not protect my brother, and the earth did not shelter my loved ones. If that's the case, what use do I have for this heavenly Tao? With that, my palm slammed heavily onto the Book of the Netherworld. The Book of the Netherworld let out a resistant hum, and a great golden light erupted. Trying to push my hand away, but I directly burned the essence blood at my fingertips. Using my blood as a medium, I forcefully suppressed the book's spirit. I shouted Sha Mo's name at the Book of the Netherworld, and the pages began to flip frantically. Finally, they settled on one page. I fixed my gaze upon it. However, when I saw the contents of that page clearly, I felt as if I had been struck by lightning. Name: Sha Mo. Lifespan: 88 years. Original lifespan: 280 years. Cause of death: unnatural. Remarks: Heavenly Tao contract activated. Exchanged 200 years of life and his own fortune for the opportunity of foundation establishment through a spiritual reign and a successful core formation tribulation. Achieved soul transformation without perishing. Transaction complete. I stared intently at that line of remarks. What transaction? Countless fragments that I had once ignored suddenly flashed through my mind. 300 years ago, I failed my foundation establishment and suffered from chi deviation. Just as my meridians were about to shatter, Sha Mo disappeared for 3 days. When he returned, his face was pale, but he brought back a top-grade foundation establishment pill. He said he found it at the bottom of a cliff. 200 years ago, I was facing my golden core lightning tribulation. The final bolt of heavenly lightning nearly took my life. At the critical moment, that bolt of lightning inexplicably deviated by 3 inches. That day, Sha Mo suddenly fell gravely ill. 100 years ago, I was exploring a secret realm and was afflicted with a strange poison. I was sure to die. Sha Mo stayed by my bedside for 7 days and 7 nights. When I woke up, the poison was gone, but from then on, Sha Mo developed a chronic illness. He would cough up blood endlessly on every dark and rainy day. "So, it was you. You are the biggest fool in the entire world. Who asked you to make that trade for me? Who asked you to act on your own? I'm a genius. Did I need a good-for-nothing like you to trade your life for mine?" I roared. My voice was so anguished that it moved all the ghosts and gods in the hall. I had always thought I was the chosen one. My path was smooth, and opportunities were endless. It turns out there was no chosen one. There was only ever one person, hiding in a dark corner, secretly feeding his own life, bit by bit, to that insatiably greedy heavenly Tao, just to trade for a grand path to the heavens for me. I abruptly looked up at the Lord of the Netherworld. Give his life back to him. My cultivation, my life. Take it all. Give him back his 200 years. The Lord of the Netherworld was forced back 2 steps by this gust of power. He shook his head helplessly. Once a transaction is made and recorded by the heavenly Tao, it cannot be changed. This is the rule. I snatched the giant soul returning brush from the table beside me. If you won't give it back, then I'll change it myself. The moment I picked up the brush, the sky outside the hall of the Netherworld suddenly cracked open. A purplish-black lightning began to brew within the clouds. That was no ordinary lightning tribulation. That's the 9th heaven's purple world-ending divine thunder, used to obliterate heaven defiers who attempt to alter destiny. Stop, you'll destroy the entire netherworld. The Lord of the Netherworld screamed in terror. I paid him no mind, my left hand pressed firmly on the book of the netherworld. My right hand gripped the soul-returning brush, its trembling tip pointing at Sha Mo. The line of words beneath his name, all I had to do was cross it out. All I had to do was write in a new lifespan, but the brush felt impossibly heavy. With every inch I moved it, a bone in my body would shatter. It was the law of the heavenly Tao trying to stop me. Move, damn it. Blood erupted from every pore as I burned the last of my divine soul. A thick, black stroke of ink viciously crossed out the words, "Transaction complete." Then, with a trembling hand, I scrawled in the lifespan column, shakily yet with unwavering resolve, I wrote the words, "Eternal life, same as the heavens. If 200 years isn't enough to repay my debt to you, then I will grant you eternal life." As the final stroke fell, the purple world-ending divine thunder finally descended. The bolt pierced through the defenses of the netherworld's great hall and struck me squarely on the crown of my head. Standing at the center of the column of lightning, an utterly suppressed roar escaped my throat. My skin was carbonizing and cracking apart at a speed visible to the naked eye. But I didn't fall, my right hand was still pressed firmly on the book of the netherworld. So, this is divine punishment? You want to obliterate me? You want to erase his name? I won't allow it. The peak great ascension cultivation within me began to burn without restraint. That was the chaotic sword chi I'd cultivated for 300 years. Transformed into an azure dragon, surging upstream, forcefully resisting the descending pillar of lightning and charging back towards the heavens. The two forces collided in midair. In that instant, the entire netherworld was rocked by a magnitude 12 earthquake. The Lord of the Netherworld watched the figure amidst the lightning, flesh and blood flying, yet not retreating a single step. His eyes filled with incredulous terror. He was fighting the heavenly Tao with his physical body. That's making an enemy of the will of the entire universe. A sharp crack echoed from within my body. My spine had snapped, then came my ribs, the bones in my legs, my arms. Under the absolute, crushing might of the heavenly Tao, even the body of a great ascension master seemed so fragile. Just then, the voice of Sha Mo's soul reached me. "Hey you, let it go. I'm not worth it, shut up." Cough. 300 years ago, you took a blade for me. You've looked after me for 300 years. This time, it's my turn. Sword, to me. Since the path to life is cut off, I will find life through death. Watch closely, Mo. This technique is called Heaven Defying. Twist, condense. With one last roar, the thunderclouds filling the sky suddenly vanished. I had forcibly compressed all the power of the thunder into that single sword, sealing it within my own body. Now, I stood in the center of the ruins. My entire body was charred black, like a withered log. The heavenly abyss sword was embedded in my chest. There was no breath, no heartbeat. Was I dead? From a distance, the Lord of the Netherworld cautiously sent out his divine sense. But the very moment it made contact with me, a crack split open in the charred, dead skin on my body. A dazzling golden light shot out from the crack, and then, like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, the charred flesh and blood flaked away, and a new me slowly raised my head. But this was no longer a mortal body. My bones were now forged from condensed purple lightning. Golden, divine substance flowed as my blood. I had reforged my true body in destruction. He actually used the power of the heavenly punishment to forge the legendary immortal thunder tribulation sacred body. I pulled the sword from my chest, and the wound healed instantly. I turned to look at the coffin behind me. Alright, the hardest part is over. Next, let's go home. I ignored the people around me. I lifted the coffin with one hand and took a step forward, tearing the barrier between the two realms and disappearing into the netherworld. At that moment, in the ruins of the heavenly Tao sect, I gently placed the coffin down and said, "Come out, old Mo." I extended my finger, and a drop of golden blood from my fingertip fell onto Sha Mo's soul flame. That was the sacred blood of the thunder tribulation I had just refined, the ultimate in hardness and yang. Yet it also contained immense life force. The soul flame absorbed the blood, instantly surging in size and forming a translucent human silhouette. Next up, a physical body. I looked at the ruined remains in the coffin, skeleton that was even missing a vertebra. A flicker of pain showed in my eyes. That was Sha Tian's handiwork. That traitorous son tore out Sha Mo's spine. How can one be a man without a spine? I took a deep breath, raised my right hand, and plunged it directly into my own back. I grabbed hold of the main vertebra that radiated a fierce sword intent. My natural sword bone. This is the foundation of my standing as the #1 master of the sword. It's also the essence of all my cultivation. Out. I forcibly tore out my own bone for Sha Mo. Surge of immense spiritual energy instantly coursed through Sha Mo's entire skeleton. The bones are there, now he just needs flesh. I lay on the ground, panting heavily. Having lost my sword bone, my cultivation level was plummeting. From the peak of the Great Ascension stage down to the early stage, and then down to the Tribulation stage. But I didn't care. I looked up at the golden light of Ascension about to descend from the sky. That was the gateway to Ascension. I had already reached the peak of the Great Ascension stage, and had passed the world-ending Thunder Tribulation. The heavenly gate was open. The immortal realm was calling for me to take my place among the celestials. If I were to just follow the golden light and ascend now, I could reforge an immortal body and live forever. A majestic, divine voice echoed from the sky, "Ling Yu, return to your place immediately." A golden celestial ladder extended down before me. I looked at that ladder to eternal life, and then at Sha Mo beside me, who had yet to grow flesh. The Sky Abyss sword lying on the ground flew up. With a single thought, I commanded, "Shatter the ladder." The sword, carrying my final resolve, slashed mercilessly at that sacred golden light of ascension. The ladder shattered. Countless streams of golden immortal energy poured out from the shattered ladder. The energy that was meant to guide my ascension now all poured down. Absorb it, guided all this energy, which originally belonged to the immortals, and channeled it into Sha Mo's body. It was an act of stealing from the heavens. I cut off my own path to immortality, using the energy of the immortal realm to regrow flesh on Sha Mo's bones, bringing the dead back to life. Amidst the golden light that filled the sky, on Sha Mo's skeleton, meridians, muscles, and skin began to grow. Even his shattered dantian was being reformed by the immortal energy. It was nourished and reforged into a dazzling golden immortal pill. Though it's not quite the great accomplishment stage, this body is now, in the truest sense, the body of an immortal. Finally, the golden light faded, and the one lying inside the coffin, his chest gently rose and fell. I was sprawled on the ground. Having lost my sword bone and my cultivation, my hair had already turned gray and brittle. My skin sagged, and I looked like an old man at death's door. But I kept my eyes glued to his face, until those eyes slowly opened. Sha Mo sat up. He looked around in a daze, looked down at his own hands, and finally, his gaze fell to his feet. To the blood-soaked old man lying there, Sha Mo froze. A sharp pain, coming from the depths of his soul, instantly made his eyes well up. Even though my appearance had changed, and my aura was different, he recognized me in a single glance. I struggled to lift my head. Even though my body is ruined, even though my path to immortality is cut off, I broke into the most genuine and joyous smile I'd had in 300 years. "Lao Mo, you protected me in our last life. It looks like you'll have to protect me in this one, too." Sha Mo let out a sob and burst into tears. This man, over 30 years old, was now crying like a lost child who couldn't find his way home. He threw his arms around the bloody, mangled body on the ground, holding it tightly in his embrace. Sunlight spilled over the two of them, one, with the newly reborn body of an immortal, the other, a ruined man, just fallen from grace. But in this moment,